to spark emotion and thoughtfulness in regards to a very controversial topic, and that topic is racism in America. And in this video, we're going to talk about the ramifications of racism and what exactly it looks like for members in the Black community and in minority communities all around America. This is Culture Colosseum Town Hall Meeting. Off with this video, we're going to introduce all of our panelists, everybody that's going to be involved in this video, starting off with Corey.
Oh, my name is Corey. I'm a videographer and photographer in Maryland.
Hi, my name is Jean, and I am also living in Maryland. I live in Baltimore, and I run a small business training animals.
My name is Titus. I am a content creator for Be Inspired Global.
My name is Michelle, and I'm a pre-nursing major at Towson.
My name is BJR, aka Born Just Right, a record producer, DJ, curator.
All right. So as you guys have seen in the last couple of weeks, I feel like America is kind of on fire, and you can really see it on social media right now with everything that everyone has been posting, has been sharing. I've seen a lot of debates, I've seen a lot of fights, but I've also seen a lot of people coming together and agreeing that racism is an issue in America. So for us, let's start it off straight up. Why do the members of our country have an issue with admitting racism is a problem in it?
There's so many different reasons. I think why people don't want to do that is white people are very afraid of admitting that they're wrong, and it's something that's been historically shown throughout the whole world is that white people don't want to be wrong. They're afraid of looking at things that might hurt their feelings, which is absurd, because part of growth and development and part of this whole movement to quote unquote make America great again, when you can look at historically, it's never been great, at least not for minority groups or women or queer people. It's something that people don't want to see because they're afraid of the change, because they are subconsciously very aware of their privilege, and they know that by encouraging other groups to rebel and revolutionize and giving other groups the same rights they have, they no longer benefit from the privileges that they have, and that terrifies people.
Especially people that are interested in power. And when you're talking about that, I think that hits it right on the head. You know, you can throw a lot of words out there. Arrogance came to mind. You know, pride in terms, as a proud Black man, I have to imagine that, if you flip the scale right there on anybody that's Caucasian, anyone with that type of pride is going to pretty much do anything they can to, be on top. And unfortunately, in this situation, for years and years, it's been, what we've seen. So I just think that, if I could say anything there, it would be that, the white supremacy game is about power. And ultimately, that's what you see. You see people abuse power. You see people, do everything they can to manipulate power. And that's what I see, full scale. I think that's where a lot of our history's been. It's what we learned in textbooks, right? It's about the power game. That's the number one thing I always speak about. I speak to my son, I say the same thing. So yeah, that's what I find.
Now, you saying the thing about power, I think that jumps into a very interesting topic on why racism continues to be a problem in America. But you've seen this, and you guys have seen this multiple in different like social media platforms and comments and things like that. People saying things like Black people can be racist. Black people being racist towards white people, everything like that, and just reverse racism. To me, I think that we need a better understanding of the word racist and racism and prejudice. See, racism, from what I understand, is when you have a struggling group, it's because you have power. Like you were saying, BJR, about power. If you have power, you can use that against somebody to be racist, to be a racist person. But prejudice, being prejudiced towards someone, that's something that everyone can be. Do you think that there's a big distinction between that, guys? Like, do you feel that we have distorted what racism and what prejudice like the definitions of those two words?
I never really took the time to really. I've never thought about that question. I'm not even necessarily sure if that question is on the list of things that you've given us to talk about.
Hmm.
But when we talk about the racism of blacks and the racism of whites, and I'm pretty sure everybody could probably attest to this. I don't think that there's a such thing as reverse racism unless the one who is actually racist admits to his own racism. What you do as black people when you are, I guess, when you say prejudice against white people, um, I think that has more to do with trust, whereas the racism of white people affects all other races. There's no other culture on this earth that has not been affected by the racism of white people. So I don't necessarily call what black people do or how they feel about it's just their opinion about white people rather than calling it racism because our opinion of white people does not affect them in any kind of way.
Okay, okay. And so that being said, why does racism continue to be a problem in America?
I think it's more accepted. I feel like a lot of times people will make, and more so being white people, they'll make, race jokes or racially motivated posts and things like that. And no one's really stopping to say, like, hey, do you realize like that was racist? Because people have gotten to a point where they're just going to accept it and they want to sit down, especially people who are in with groups that are more so a white group. So in that
Mhm.
white group, they may make a racist joke and you might not feel comfortable enough to stand up and say, hey, that was racist. Did you think about that? Did you see what you just said? Did you hear yourself really? And so I feel like a lot of times people aren't really willing to step up and say that was racist.
No, I agree. I think there has to be, like, for now, I think that with moments like today or even last night, when these situations happen, everybody is in order. It's like everybody gets checked. Once it's done and things go back to normal, it's like none of this ever happened. And then on top of that, they go around making their jokes, especially if you're coworkers or if you have friends. They make their jokes because they feel like, okay, the coast is clear. We can come on out and we can continue to do what we have to do instead of it being something that's continually checked day after day after day. Because the moment we give them that space or that window to go back to normal, reality is going to set again, and who they really are just going to be who they are.
Who we are as black people is who we are. And, what I would say is this in terms of racism. I don't believe in reverse racism only because racism to me takes a deeper meaning. It's about resources. How can I, as a black man, be racist against somebody? What do we have as a black community that we can take pride from someone else and from their families and children? Things of that nature to make it racist. I understand the jokes, I understand the fake, I understand the likes. But when you talk about systematic racism, something we can't even do as black people. What are we going to do? Make fun of white rappers or something? That's all we can do. You know what I mean? It's all we can do. No, you're right. Like ownership, like in regards to, the system of our economics, system of our education, system of obviously it's like that justice system, we put black people in high places, but they're manipulated by them. And you just continue to move on with this circle of racism that takes place in one direction, And the minute that you even that part of resources, those little white jokes will stop. It is the trust. My man said it right on the head. We don't trust, and we have no reason to. Right? So it's not reverse racism. When we talk about it, I teach music production to inner city kids in Baltimore and other cities. And, we're talking to kids at a young age about even just some of the nuances of how the classrooms may be structured and how things happen. They have to see the systematic racism in those things early so that the jokes and everything else doesn't necessarily come off because, again, that trust is really, again, where that stems from. And by the time we're able to educate our kids on, hey, this is what to expect, so be ready. We're not spending time being racist, we're more so spending time. Okay. I don't believe in reverse racism.